Ms. Walters, you claim the defendant was a childhood family friend who got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 3-year-old son, Rylan.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that he is Rylan's father, so he will finally step up.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rogers, you say you spent 2 months in jail for unpaid child support and are currently behind more than $2,500 in payments for a child who is not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
You and your mother are here to prove that you are not Rylan's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Walters, how do you know he's the dad?
I slept with another man weeks prior to even conceiving my son, and we did use protection. And at the time I conceived my son, he was the only person that I was having sex with without using protection. I've known them for 20 years now. We grew up together. We did family vacations together, holidays. Our families were always together. We grew up, we dated. That didn't really work out in middle school. The feelings came back once we got in high school, and we started sleeping together again. His mom didn't approve of us being together.
No,
we weren't in a relationship.
Know that y'all were together.
Yeah, my mom didn't know
I
nothing.
had no clue.
Nobody in the family on either side had any recognition of anything the whole time.
So you all kept this a secret?
Yes, ma'am.
And you all were having unprotected sex?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. When she found out she was pregnant, you know, we was best friends. We had been friends growing up our whole lives. Like, we was together, you know what I mean, all the time. Not in a relationship, but we was friends. She texted me one day, sent me a picture while I was at work, and it was a sticky note that says 6 weeks pregnant. I text back, congratulations. Tell the other guy congratulations.
Is that what you really felt?
Yes, ma'am. That is honestly what I believe.
Your Honor?
Because she was in a relationship with this other guy, so why would it automatically be mine? You know what I'm saying?
But were you sleeping with her during the window of conception?
Yes, ma'am. We had slept together.
I was not in a relationship, Your Honor, with anybody.
She says she's pregnant. You say, good luck to you. And now you by yourself.
It was hard. He didn't come to any doctor's appointments. I was doing it by myself. And then once I got maybe 7, 8 months, I'll be there if he's mine. I'll take care of him. Don't put me on child support. Once I had him, he came to the hospital. He left the hospital before my son was born.
Your Honor, in my head, okay, me and this girl have been through everything together, known each other since we was in diapers. I felt like she was trying to push me as the father because she knew we would always be there. Our families would be
Her
together.
dad and I were best friends. We took family trips together. All that's been ruined since all this has happened.
So the truth is you all grew up like brother and sisters,
Yes, Your Honor.
cousins,
Grew up
because I
in
mean,
my home.
That was my home away from home. I mean, I was always with them.
Like you can see in that picture, like we was friends, we was happy. We was best friends growing up, literally best
She
friends.
was like one of my children, Your Honor.
But ever since this happened, it's just completely killed everything.
tore
Our
us all
families
apart.
don't hang out no more.
and so Ms. Sanders, I can see this is really upsetting you.
And I apologize for that.
No, you don't have to apologize. You're upset because first you had no idea.
No, I would have never allowed them to spend days and nights and all in my house because to me they were like brother and sister.
So you would let her spend the night because she's just like another child.
She would spend
and you
all
wouldn't think-
summers with us. She would spend weekends with us. Her dad lived right down the road, and while he worked or whatever, she'd come and stayed at my home. I didn't feel the need to supervise it because they grew up together.
Did you know if Ms. Walters was intimate with anyone else?
Yes. Later on, I did because I found a bunch of condoms in her stuff when I went through it. Because I checked
And
all
Your
the
Honor,
kids
that was
for
from the health
drugs.
department. They give you condoms at the health department. And that was right after I went to the health department. I went to her house.
But the bottom line is when you found them, you said to yourself, she must be sexually active now.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you weren't aware of that before.
I had heard that
You didn't
because
know
I
for
loved
certain.
her, I didn't listen to the rumors.
Did you ask her about it once you found those condoms?
I did not.
So when you
Doesn't matter.
first found out she was pregnant, did you immediately say, my son could be the father, or you felt like she...
No, I got a phone call and said, Lindsay's pregnant and she's saying Roy's the father. Well, Roy was with me at the time. And I turned around and I said, Roy, did you know that? He said, that is not my baby mama.
Did you know at that time they had been sleeping together?
No, that was when I found out.
That was when you found out.
Yes.
And Your Honor, I don't get how, all right, I was not in the delivery room when he was born, so therefore my name is not on that birth certificate. I've had no DNA established the whole time he has been in this world. How am I on child support? I was out of town working when the court date was set up for the DNA test. So I missed the court date, automatically rules me as the father.
Yes.
I'm thinking, how am I on child support? There's been no DNA, no birth certificate signed. There's no connection to me and that boy as him being mine as
Your Honor,
at the moment.
But there's been a court date.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't tell you how many men stand before me and say, Your Honor, I got this court date in the mail. I went to this address and I had to work, or I went to this address and I knew that child wasn't mine, so I just didn't go. without understanding that you can and you will be named the legal father of that child by default.
I did not know that at the time, Your Honor.
I know you didn't, or you would have been in court.
Well, 2 weeks later, I was on the way to the beach for my sister's birthday. Well, my buddy happened to be speeding. Cop pulls us over, gave my buddy a breathalyzer. He failed it. So he locks him up in the car. So the cop puts him in the car, walks back up to me, and I heard him call over his radio. Roy Rogers has a warrant out of Monroe County for child neglect. So he instantly threw me on the back of the car, slammed me against the car, and put me in handcuffs. I ended up going to this little country jail where, I don't know, it's not even a jail, it's a little barn thing. And they locked me up there for 3 days. They don't feed you on the weekends, but like 2 times a day, and it's these little bitty I don't even know what it was, to be honest with you, Your Honor. Then I had to wait till Monday for Monroe County to drive down there and pick me up and transport me back to Monroe County, where I sat 2 months.
Listen, what you're explaining right now, it happens more often than you think. Before I did family law, I was a criminal defense attorney for many, many years. And it was to always say, the worst thing you can do is get locked up on a Friday. Because you're going to have to wait till Monday.
It was a Friday, too.
Oh, I know. When you started describing it, I said that was a Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I need to hear some more testimony. We have a witness I'd like to call to the stand. It's your best friend, Ms. Walters. Ron,
Yes, Your
will you
Honor.
please escort the witness into the courtroom?
ma'am.
Thank you. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Please state your name for the court.
Rochelle Rogers.
And Ms. Rogers, you are Ms. Walters' best friend.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you known one another?
22 years.
Last name Rogers.
Yes.
Sounds familiar.
Yes, ma'am, that's my sister.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
So you and Ms. Walters are best friends because you all grew up together.
Exactly. She was in the house every other weekend, every summer, all the time. I went up there, she came down here, we were together all the time. Every bit that we could be together, we could be together.
And you're still best friends today?
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
Your Honor.
Do you believe your brother is Ryland's father?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Well, because at the time we were all young, we all done our different things, we were all partying. We were together every day, all the time. Every time we went out together. We done everything together. I was aware of her sleeping with the other guy. She also stated the next morning that she did sleep with him, that she did sleep with the other guy. Then 6 weeks later, I'm staying at her house. She comes home. She breaks down on the floor crying because she finds out she's pregnant. At the time, she does not know who the father is.
At the time, do you know she's sleeping with your brother?
I did.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
So you knew they were sleeping together even when your mother didn't?
Yes, ma'am.
Keep going.
She broke down on the floor crying. The little paper said 6 weeks, that she was 6 weeks pregnant. She sent a text to Roy. I'm not sure what his response was. She was just crying, lividly. At the time, she said that she had 2 different potential fathers, but when it all came out of her being pregnant, her telling my mother and her father that she was pregnant, it was all directed toward Roy. The other guy was never an option.
So you're saying when she first found out, you were there for the emotional breakdown
Yes.
when she realized she was pregnant.
Yes.
And in that moment,
Yes.
she admitted to you that there were 2 possible fathers.
Yes, which I knew before because of the party, and she did tell me that she slept with the guy the morning after she slept with him, and that was, weeks prior to this happening, of course, weeks prior to her finding out she was pregnant. But when it all came out, she did say, yes, that there was 2 potential fathers.
So when it came to the point where she was just
I
saying
did
your
tell-
brother was the child's father, did you tell anybody, hey, she told me there was another guy?
Yes, I did.
So Ms. Walters, that is not what you testified to today in court. Ms. Rogers, your best friend, his sister, is saying that you were open with her right from the start, that there
When I
could be
told
2
Mr.
possible
Rogers
fathers.
that I slept with this other man, it was because out of anger. At the time that I found out I was pregnant and I told him, his ex-girlfriend was about to have his baby. And at the time, he
Yes, Your Honor, I have a
was
4-year-old
young
son
and
also.
he didn't want to be responsible.
So were you denying that you were the father because you didn't want any more responsibility, or did you truly feel
I honestly
like it's
believed it was
impossible
not
for you to
mine.
be the father?
I honestly believed it was not mine, Your Honor. And Your Honor, we live in a small town. Like, our town is not big at all where we're from. And it's just everybody knows everybody. So, word gets around.
What have you heard specifically?
what I've heard when all this was going on, when the conception, when she got pregnant and all this, I was hearing from multiple different people that she was sleeping with multiple different people and not to believe it was my child. That was what I was told.
Your Honor, at
from a
this
bunch of
time,
people.
he was dating a girl, and she did not like me at all. And she had fed him that this is not your child. He's not yours. He's not going to be yours. I don't like her, and this kid's not going to be a part of you.
And
he fed this into him, and he denied him.
Your Honor, I confronted her about that, about the rumors of several different partners. And her exact words was to me, it doesn't matter how many partners I've had, Roy's the father.
Well, Your Honor, in my opinion, there's always should be that little bit of doubt in your mind. If there is, if you're not sleeping with one person for multiple months and in a steady relationship with them, and you are going around and happen to sleep with one or two more people, there should always be a doubt in your head.
So, Ms. Rogers, since you all are best friends and we're testifying and we're here to lay it on the line and just tell the truth, did you see, know, witness her involved with any other person besides your brother and this other guy?
I know for a fact there was 2 people that she was sleeping with at the time, which was including my brother and the other guy. I know that for a fact. But as far as her sleeping with multiple men, I knew that there was different people, but in that time period, I couldn't per se, during that time period, she slept with 3 or 4 different people. But during that time period, I do know that she slept with 2 people. And I believe that it may have been okay, well, let me just pin it on Roy because we're lifelong friends. And he's always gonna be there regardless. Nothing, no one's ever gonna change. And on my side, it put me in a horrible situation because Lindsay's my best friend and this is my brother. So I can't choose sides. I'm not gonna lose her and I'm not gonna lose him. But then my mom comes in and it's killing her because we all grew up together. This is insane for them to even be together like this. That's crazy. That's not supposed to happen. We grew up like, this is my cousin, this is my uncle, like, this is my family. They were never supposed to have sexual contact at all. It ruined my relationship with them. It ruined my relationship, all of us together. None of us can hang out anymore. They ruined our whole family unit. Everything.
And I can see that really hurt you. I can see that.
That is correct, Your Honor. Our families, literally, it's like they despise each other now. When we was best friends.
Best friends.
So you all both have a part to play in this. And this is what we end up with. 2 families that once loved each other, spent time together, supported one another, are now torn apart. And you all aren't even together.
And we
Never were.
We went from talking every day, being best friends, to barely communicating. And
That's
then to
sad.
a point where we didn't communicate at all for months and months and months at a time.
That's just sad. And most importantly, there is a beautiful child here, 3 years old, doesn't know who his father is. And then if you are the biological father, are the 2 families going to be able to get along enough
I don't think, Your Honor,
It'll never be the
there's
same.
to
never gonna
support
be-
this child?
I think there's been too much between us.
It'll never be the same.
And then if he's not your biological child, will there be reason enough to mend this rift and to put these families back together?
It's possible, Your Honor, but there's no telling with the different family members that are in each other's family.
It's obvious Mr. Rogers and his mother have doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
I need to know from you, are there any other possible fathers?
Your Honor, at the time that I got pregnant was around New Year's, and the time I slept with the other man was beginning mid-December. At the hospital, I made sure they checked the dates and everything just to make sure because he told me, I won't take a DNA test unless the other guy takes a DNA test. I was like, there's no point if he's not the father.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You don't know for a 100% fact who is the father when there's more than one dude in the picture. You don't have 100% fact of that.
So, Ms. Walters, you submitted photos of your son Rylan and Mr. Rogers as a child. And you believe there is a distinct similarity?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Mr. Rogers, do you see it?
No, Your Honor.
You don't.
I see her dad more than anything.
They have
I see
the
her
same
dad more than
features,
anything.
the same hair, the eyebrows, the mouth shape, the ears,
I
everything.
see a lot of Lindsay in him, Your Honor.
Yeah.
How about you, sister? Do you see anything?
I believe he looks like Miss Walter's dad.
What about this other guy? Does anyone know what he looks like?
Nothing like my son.
Dark brown.
He's
Well,
really
in all
tall,
honesty,
skinny.
though, you're-
All right. I think it's time for the results. Ron, I'm ready. In the case of Walters versus Rogers Sanders, when it comes to 3-year-old Rylan Walters, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Rogers, you are his father.
I'm sorry.
Both of you all burst into tears in that moment. What do you feel?
Your Honor, I grew up without a father. So I know what it's like. And I told myself from day one I was not going to be that person. And now that I know him as father, I can step up and actually be his father.
Good. How do you feel, Ms. Walters? Are you happy?
I'm relieved. I've waited for this for so long. My son deserves to have his father there. And he's missed out on almost 4 years of his life.
How do you feel, Mom?
I feel guilty now for not being there for him.
And how about you? It's your nephew. It's not just your best friend's child, it's your nephew.
I'm so happy.
You
I'm
are?
so happy for Roy, and I'm so happy for her and Mom. The whole reason Mom wasn't being a big part of his life was because she had so much doubt. And now he can have a full-time grandparent, full-time dad, full-time mom, full-time aunt. He can have a full-time family.
Yes. Ms. Smith, you've petitioned the court today to prove to your fiancé that he is the biological father of your beautiful 2-year-old daughter, Kamaya.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hopkins, you don't believe that you are Kamaya's biological father and say today's negative result would end all wedding plans.
Yes, Your Honor.
If today's results determine that you are not the biological father, you've asked the court to award you $2,500 in child care expenses you've spent under false pretenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Smith, why do you believe Mr. Hopkins has doubt at all?
I believe he have doubt, Your Honor, because of his melanin mama always in our business. If she wouldn't have been going around putting it up in his head that she not his and that the one I'm carrying is not his, we wouldn't be here today.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Why do you have doubt?
I got doubt for my own reasons. For one, she told me herself a couple of times, numerous of times, that in an argument that Kamaya wasn't mad. And
Just to make you mad, it wasn't to
that ain't how you do
You
it.
said that, Ms. Smith? You said Kamaya's not your child? That's not something you say in an argument.
Yes, I have said that, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I done threw birthday parties for Kamaya. Her second birthday party I threw for her. I provided shoes, clothes for her. You see what I'm saying, Your Honor? I done did this, you know what I'm saying? I'm
That's
not
what
saying
you
I did it all on my own, but you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I done this stuff.
You supposed to do that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to, but at the same time, if we in the
That's
middle
what
of
a real
an
man
argument,
do. He don't sit and deny and complain about
if we in the
taking care
middle of
his
an
child.
argument, ain't no real woman go throw up, oh yeah, she ain't yours. Every time we argue, you know what I'm saying? That ain't
Why would you throw that up, Ms. Smith? I need to understand that. What does it profit you
Just
to
make
tell a
him
man
mad.
that
Just
you
to make
truly
him
believe
mad,
is your child's father during an argument that he's not, and then resent the fact that he then later questions the child?
It was to make him mad because I know that really bothers him because he
And now he's countersuing you for $2,500 because now that he feels doubtful as to whether the child is his, because you told him, he wants the money back that he's given to help support her. So, all right, you two, how did this relationship start?
I met Mr. Hopkins through a mutual friend in Chicago. I had 3 kids at the time already. And the main thing was 2 weeks later, we had sex. And he was doing things I ain't never had done before. And like just different moves. And
Skip over that part.
Okay. And,
Let's fast forward your testimony right past that part.
Okay. And,
Okay.
So we planned on having a baby, making a baby. I got pregnant. I had a miscarriage. He was kind of like just sad and depressed because he really wanted a child.
Mr. Hopkins, if you planned to have a baby, during the time you were with her, did you have suspicions she was with someone else as well?
When she get pregnant, she never tell me. You know what I'm saying? If you plan to have a child with somebody, how come you not tell them that you're pregnant right away?
Why didn't you tell him, Miss Smith?
I ain't tell him because I cheated.
Okay. So please explain.
With my previous kid's father, around the time I got pregnant with Kamaya, I went and slept with him twice.
Without protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hopkins, did you know this was going on at the time?
At the time, I didn't. I didn't find out until one day I just received a letter from her ex saying that he Kamaya father from that point on, I just been in doubt. I have evidence if you would like for me to preside.
I would like to see that. Thank you. Thank you, Jerome. You're welcome. Oh, this is a post
from
her ex saying
and that he,
the wifey and our new baby Kamaya.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's referring to you, Miss Smith?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you stand in the courtroom and you testify that you have no doubt that Mr. Hopkins is Kamaya's father.
I do feel he's her
Your
father.
Honor.
She looked like him, like they eyes, they nose.
So wait, has your ex been excluded by a previous DNA test?
No.
All right, let's go to your next piece of evidence, Mr. Hopkins. This picture says, and it's also from the ex, Daddy's baby girl, Kamaya.
He know that's his baby. He the one named Kamaya.
Yes.
But this man is claiming her.
Your Honor, we both agreed on that she was gonna have my last name too. What happened to that, Miss Smith?
You know what happened to that. I had a C-section with Kamaya, so I was, off a lot of meds, and I didn't know that he was gonna put his name down on there.
Girl,
I didn't know nothing about
Lord
that.
Jesus.
And
So
that's
your
my
ex
story, and
put
I'm
his
sticking to
name
it.
down on Kamaya's birth certificate?
Yes,
That's her story. Let her tell it.
it's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Explain.
I'm sticking
But at
to
the
it.
same time,
Wait a minute. I had a baby too. I don't remember being so high off of any medicine that somebody was gonna come into a hospital and sign my child's birth certificate claiming they were the father.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you sure you don't need to just admit here in open court and get it out the way that you were just kind of playing both men back and forth? Because ain't no way in the world somebody's posting this up about some child being theirs and this is my baby Kamaya and daddy's little girl. Why would he post this? So he feels like he could be her father.
Yes, he do.
But you just believe he's the option.
Yes. I want him to be the father.
Okay, now we get into some truth. Thank you so much. We're here to tell the truth. So really, Mr. Hopkins' doubts are valid.
Cause of her.
Girl, whoa.
It's cause of her.
How is it cause of you? You
No,
admitted you
it's cause
slept
of
with
her.
the-
Cause everything was fine when he got out. Everything was fine until she getting in his head, talking about she done seen me here with this guy, seen me there with that guy, all type of stuff. It's because of her, man.
So that further fueled your doubt.
Yes. and
Is there
the time-
anything else?
The timeline
She probably
doesn't
put
add
that
up.
in his
The
head.
timeline doesn't add up.
It doesn't.
What do you mean?
I got locked up
Raw.
roughly at the end of January, beginning of February.
Yeah, that don't mean nothing.
Don't
all
add
it
up.
take is
It
one
don't add
time.
up.
Okay,
all
hold on.
it take is
Come
one
on, man.
time.
Let me get my calendar first of all, because we're talking about a timeline. I want to see what
Please
you all
do.
talking about.
Please do.
Ghetto, that's why.
No, ghetto is you.
I'll show you.
Hold.
in
Let's
our
hold the
business.
testimony.
That's ghetto.
Hold the
That's her time.
testimony.
I'm still her son at the end of the day.
So, take me back, Mr. Hopkins. You say Kamaya was born when?
October 15th.
All right, so October 15th, got that. And you were on an involuntary extended stay, we'll call it. When?
I say like around the end of January, beginning of February.
Okay, right around here. All right, so let's count back. 1, 2.
It don't make
It ends up being approximately 40 weeks, which is long enough for a baby to be born. But based on this calendar,
didn't
you
want
do
kids
understand
until
that you're not excluded from being a possible father. You understand that, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to hear from your witness. Please stand, ma'am. State your name for the court.
My name's Cheryl Washup.
Thank you for coming, Miss Washup. You are Mr. Hopkins'
Mother.
What do you know about this situation?
A lot, a little bit too
Girl,
Go ahead, Miss Washup.
he know I'm finna ready to tell it.
Well, go ahead and tell it.
She was messing around with this man during the conception time. How I know this? Because a friend of mine was at Applebee's and was like, girl, you'll never guess who I ran into. I was like, who? She said her name. I was like, girl, stop lying. So she FaceTimed me.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Turn all the way around so I can see her. She's sitting there with dude.
That's all she do.
Really?
It wasn't me.
She just a he and ha and holding hands with him. I was like, girl, stop the madness. Did you or did you not have on a red and white top with some red and white pants with your red and white heels?
Yeah.
Okay then, so that wasn't
But
you.
you see,
But
she
that
said
wasn't
that
you.
before. No,
Hey,
look.
but that wasn't her.
Yana,
Damn.
wait a minute,
Well, wait a minute.
She,
That
Well,
wasn't
wouldn't
so
her.
all that is a lie.
Wouldn't
And
that
if it
only
was so-
lend credibility
But why
to
would you
her
say yeah
testimony
then?
that she knew it was you if she knew you had that outfit?
Feel me?
She a lie.
Tell the truth.
No,
were you,
no,
were you
I was
there?
not at no Applebee's.
Okay,
That
so
be my
now go
story.
ahead, Miss
And
Margaret.
you know what? I try not to get in my kid. I got other sons. And my son done went through this before. He wanted a baby so bad. He done had a girl try to put a baby on him before when he was on an extended vacation. I ain't got no room to take care of no kids because I already got 8 or 9 of my own plus 15, 20 grandkids.
Whoa. And you're afraid this is happening
They know he
again.
naive and he is a sucker and he want a baby so bad.
Why everybody still want a baby?
I don't know
First
why.
of all, you can't even stay home enough.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Washup. You may have a seat.
All
Thank
my
you for your
kids love
testimony.
him. They look up to him. They call him daddy.
Just like they
I
daddy was
even
just for
have
them.
a video of him and Kamaya.
So?
Where she calling him Papa. She really love him, like just love him.
I'd like to see that. Jerome, will you please hand me Miss Smith's evidence?
What, Papa? Him right there? What's his name?
Papa.
What?
Papa.
So cute. And so your concern, Miss Smith, is that the results could potentially ruin that relationship your beautiful daughter has with the man she believes is her father.
That she know all her life, the man that named her.
Mr. Hopkins?
If she don't come back, man, it's gonna tear me down because I done taught this girl how to potty train. I done taught her how to walk. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be kind of hard to break away from them. You know what I'm saying? Cause her other children, they call me daddy. I've been in their life since they was Kamaya's size. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a kind of hard.
I didn't take you as the type of man that would doubt a kid, period. And not just doubt Kamaya, you doubt our child that ain't even here yet, our son. All because of
I mean, how could you
mama
how
or
could you
Facebook
blame
or
me though?
whatever.
Mr. Hopkins, you believe she should pay you $2,500. That's your lawsuit. Do you have any evidence of what you've spent on Kamaya?
I got a breakdown of a list of things that I done paid for over these past years.
May I see that, Jerome? Thank you. All right, so you have daycare,
Yes, yeah.
$1,950, shoes, canopy bed, birthday party, clothes, totaling $2,577.
The $77, I really ain't gonna trip on that.
But you gonna take back that $2,500.
I mean,
Okay,
if
you
I got a baby coming in this world. You know what I'm saying? I got a baby coming in this world. I
But
can't
you
just.
denying that one.
Did you buy these things voluntarily
Yeah,
out of the
'cause he
goodness
bought all
of your
my
heart?
kids something.
Or did she demand
them
you
all,
buy these
son.
things?
Out the
I can
cat
say
so
both
hard.
because, like, if she say Kamaya needs some shoes, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, all right, baby, I'm just go somewhere that's cheap.
Yeah, if we wear name brand
So it was
shoes,
in a way it was
but you want he
in a
bought
way it was
all my
voluntary, in a
kids
way it
name
wasn't.
brand shoes, not just Kamaya.
We worried about a name brand shoe? We don't even know who her father is? Really?
Add up, Your Honor.
You know, I've listened to your testimony, Mr. Hopkins. I've seen on videotape your relationship with this child. These expenses, in this court's opinion, were gifts to that child.
Thank you.
For that reason, I'm going to dismiss your claim.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, before we get to the results,
that's
is there anything else you need to say to one another before the truth is read? Because the truth can make a liar out of you. So better you tell the truth before it tells it for you.
Well, what I got to say is the baby ain't mine. If Kamaya not mine, I want to do a DNA test on my unborn.
How do you feel about that?
I'll get to him.
I think it's time for the results. Jerome? This result was prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and it reads as follows.
Nervous?
Are you okay, Ms. Smith?
What, you got something to say?
If you'd like to sit down, please sit down if you need to. Are we ready for the result?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, wait.
You got something to say, man?
No.
Seem like you do. You keep on, you holding us up. I want to know.
I don't want
wanna
to
know
lose
now.
my family, but she ain't yours.
What I tell you?
So why it took for all this for you to tell me this?
I don't
wanna
think
hear.
she yours. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I want to hear.
I don't know,
Please
but
read
I don't want to lose you.
Do you want the truth or do you not?
I would like the truth, because at this point, I don't really believe nothing she say.
Are you ready for the result?
You go ahead.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics. They read as follows. In the case of Smith versus Hopkins, as it pertains to 2-year-old Kamaya Anderson, Mr. Hopkins, you are not Kamaya's father.
It's gonna be all right, baby.
I'm sorry.
That's all you gotta say is you sorry.
That's all I can say.
You need to tell her you sorry, man. For real. Not me, her.
Ms. Hayslip, you are seeking a DNA test to prove that Mr. Hayslip, the defendant, is your biological father. You've believed he is your biological father for many years, yet you say he has never allowed you into his life. You acknowledge that your mother may have had sexual relations with multiple men at the time of your conception, but you claim you were always told that Mr. Hayslip was your father. You've brought your aunt along here today for moral support. Now, Mr. Hayslip, you say you want to prove that Ms. Hayslip is not your biological daughter today. You admit to being very angry because you claim you've been forced to pay child support for the past 19 years for a child you did not father. You are also asking Ms. Hayslip to change her last name so that she no longer has yours after today's test results are revealed.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Hayslip, when did you first hear that Ms. Hayslip is potentially your daughter?
I had moved from southern Michigan to northern Michigan. I was on my way back, about a 200-mile trip to southern Michigan. I was pulled over for speeding. And he said, you have a failure to pay support.
And this was the first time you're driving along routine traffic stop and they say this to you?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, they handcuffed me, and when they did, I was pretty mad, and I struggled a little bit with him. And he was adamant about it, and I asked, well, who is it? And he's like, well, it's not coming up. All it's coming up on my computer.
Because you knew nothing.
Nothing.
Never received a notice.
They served me at the address that I lived at 3 months previous to when I moved to northern Michigan.
Wow. And so you're sitting in jail.
Yep.
And you have no idea who
or what or where or when. Just that county is all I knew. That I supposedly had a child in that county that was showing no pictures, no dates, no name.
So when you finally got out, how did you go about finding out what this information was and how?
When I was released from the county, they gave me a court date. They stated the mother's name and the child's name, and I'm like, look, it's the timeline's off. There's no way. It's off by at least 2 months. I had only seen her mother for maybe a month.
And you submitted those dates to the court in the form of a calendar of sorts. So according to this calendar, you were intimate with Ms. Hayslip's mother in October and November.
Yes, ma'am.
And that would put the latest expected due date, that would be in August, around the 20th.
Yes, ma'am.
But Ms. Hayslip was born at the end of September on the 25th. So you're saying that
I believe her time of conception would have been December or January.
So in your heart of hearts, you truly believe this time just does not match up?
That is what I believe.
Now, Ms. Hayslip, you have a completely different understanding that you were told as a child.
As I was growing up, I knew David as my father.
Who told you that he was?
My mother.
Okay.
And then my mother would tell me that he had nothing to do with me. He never wanted anything to do with me, but was trying to get with her.
So, as a child, what's your first memory where your mother told you?
It was around 5. She told me that he could be my father, but earlier she always said David Hayslip. And I would always ask her.
She would name him by name?
Yes.
Did you ever try to meet him?
Yes. I met one of the Hayslips in school, which is Courtney. And I told her that my dad was David, and she also said that was her father. And she went home to my Aunt Susie and told her that she met me. And my Aunt Susie told her the truth.
Up until that point, you all going to the same school and don't know
Yes,
you're
Your Honor.
potentially sisters?
Yes.
For a long time, they rode the same school bus and didn't even know it.
Can I jump in with that?
Mr. Hayslip, how did this happen?
She had a different last name. She did not carry my last name up until, as far as I know, her freshman year of high school.
And that was her mother's choice. Her mother gave her the Hayslip name once she approached junior high.
Why didn't she give her the Hayslip name when she was born then, if she's mine?
I don't know. I just feel, and I know, to me...
Well, Miss Hodgemeyer, let me first get you on the record. You are...
Celeste's aunt.
Celeste's aunt.
David's sister.
And Mr. Hayslip's sister.
Yes.
And you are standing on this side of the podium because you obviously support Ms. Hayslip in her claim.
Yes, I do. I met Celeste when she was like 5, 6. Her mother kept approaching me, and I didn't know who she was. And then she was approaching me, telling me that my brother fathered her daughter.
Okay.
I kept asking her and asking her and asking her to let me know Celeste, get to know her. She denied me. She wouldn't let me get to know her.
Really?
Yes. And then finally, after several months, she finally set it up to where that I could meet Celeste. My first impression of her, I thought she looked a lot like me when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a bond that we had connected, and then we started getting close, and then her mother pulled her away, and I didn't see her again for a long time, and the next thing you know, they put her into foster care.
5.5 years.
Yeah.
I feel for you. I see that this still is very painful for you.
I just want to know why, if you knew me back then, why didn't you try to get it taken care of back then?
Did you try to say to your brother, hey, David, this young girl, I think she reminds me of myself,
Hey,
you know.
Hey, what really happened is she brought Celeste to a family gathering without, this was before, I'd never seen her, ever. She brought her to a family gathering, took it upon herself to bring her to a family gathering without me being there, without me knowing about it, and telling my kids, my mom, my whole family, and friends that that was my daughter.
And that infuriated you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was never tested for it. I deny her. But even if she is my daughter, which I don't believe she is, that should be up to me.
You felt like she was out of place bringing Ms. Hayslip to your family before you made that initial
Yes, that's my decision.
And Ms. Hodgemeyer, why is it that you felt like that was the appropriate time?
Because he didn't want to accept it. He didn't want to accept Celeste. He didn't want to accept the situation. And I was feeling that the only way to get her into this family and to get her accepted, she had to be known.
How do you know you're not bringing someone into my family that's not even part of my family? And I've fought, it's Cass County, Michigan. I have fought them for years. Every month, I have filed paperwork with them. They deny me, they deny me, they deny me. Since I didn't answer the letter, the original letter for the blood, back then it was a blood test, then I was deemed the father by default.
Exactly.
And they're saying there's nothing I can do to get a DNA test. For 18 years, I'm stuck paying child support no matter what. Because I had a fling.
I've also read in the statements to the court that you were married to someone else when you had that relationship.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So this whole pulled over by the police and arrested for this was the way this information came out in your marriage as well.
That ended my first marriage, yeah. I was very young, and, you know, that's no excuse for what I've done, but emotionally and morally, I was not ready really to be married. I was as far as being, you know, taking care of my children.
And you also had to reveal this information to your daughters. You didn't reveal it.
I kept it from them.
You kept it from how long?
till she
I
met her.
told him the truth.
Yeah.
So there was no time in between where you mentioned,
To my
well,
children?
this,
No.
this could possibly be an issue.
No.
And then you found out this girl that's in my class could be my sister.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they had tested 2 men that I know of, possibly 3 or 4, before my name even got brought up. And I can tell by looking at her, my best friend at the time, she looks exactly like him.
Ms. Hayslip, I want to hear from you. What was your childhood like trying to manage this kind of information?
I've grown up as him as my father, her as my aunt, her as my sister. But also, when he said that he would not take me because of foster care, that also hurt me so bad. Because I went to foster care for 5.5 years.
So,
because he said no.
And before you were placed in foster care, they came to Mr. Hayslip and asked if he would take you.
Yes.
And you're saying that
That's a lie.
he said no.
That's a lie. Even though I denied her as my child, I'm still a human being. I wouldn't check on her well-being. On where they would not tell me where she was being placed. I drove 60 miles. To the courthouse.
You drove 60 miles. You went to find her?
Twice.
Twice.
To find her.
To find her.
Yep.
And when you got there, they would just look at you and say, we don't know where she is?
They railroaded me. All they would tell me is she was somewhere near Grand Rapids.
And I seem to agree with him because me, to be supposedly aunt too, I'd done the same thing. There would be times that I would call her mother myself and beg her, more or less, to let me know something about her. Well, let me tell you an incident. There was a time I was going to take her to the fair. Well, her mother gives me a phone call telling me that she was going with her other aunt, her sister. So I just, okay, and left it alone. Come to find out, she sat there dressed all day on the bed waiting for me to show up.
Oh. You know, Miss Hayslip, I have a child, and I cannot fathom what in the world would allow me on any level to be that cruel. All right, let me bring in your daughter, Courtney Hayslip. Please step up to the podium. Thanks for being here. Now, is there a reason why you have not accepted Miss Hayslip Celeste into your life? Are you doubtful that she is your sister?
A little bit, because I've never been told about her, and I wouldn't think that he would deliberately try to hide something from the family if he knew it was his.
I had 2 other children from another mother. After my marriage had broken up,
Yes.
I had gotten with someone else.
Okay.
I did not hide those children from them or anything. I told them straight up, you know, hey, you've got a brother, you got a sister, here they are, let's meet them. The only reason, a big reason that things went the way they did with her mother.
But you shouldn't let your actions for my mother come towards me.
But what have you been involved with since you've been a teenager?
A lot.
Right.
I've gotten in contact with her.
No. I'm talking about as far as trouble.
College. I had a job.
How many times have you been arrested?
Twice.
For what?
Assault and battery.
Okay. You think I want that influence around my other children that are going to college and going to school?
Well, Mr. Hayslip, before you are so quick to be her judge and jury, we have heard in this courtroom today an account of a childhood that I don't think you'd wish on any of your children.
You're right.
Or any person.
You're right.
You have to understand that at least before you go and condemn this young woman. You know what? Let me go to the results.
Wait, Judge, before you read the results, can I ask you 2 things?
Absolutely. What would you like to know?
Any way this turns out, I ask that she takes my last name away from her. The other thing, if it turns out she's not mine, I ask for all child support money that's ever been paid to her to be returned to me.
First
Even
off,
if she proves to be your daughter, you don't want her to have your name.
Nope.
well, what point are you making with that?
The point that I'm making with that is her mother's side of the family. I don't want associated with my last name at all.
But that's
But
not
you're
Celeste's
angry
fault.
with her mother. Why are you taking out
I'm
the
still
anger
angry
you
with her
feel
for her
mother
actions.
on her?
How can you be angry with me? You have nothing to do with me.
What
And I
has
won't-
she done
I
to
won't
you?
never accept some of the things you've done.
What has she done to you?
Nothing personally.
So you're just stating to this court that if she is my daughter, I just don't feel like she's good enough to have my name.
That's how you want to put it.
It sounds like that's what you're saying.
Then that's what I'm saying, yeah.
And so, you know what? Let me go to the results. And then I will have my say. In the case of Hayslip versus Hayslip, when it comes to Celeste Hayslip, Mr. Hayslip, you in the case of Hayslip versus Hayslip, when it comes to Celeste Hayslip, Mr. Hayslip, you are her father. Well, at least now we know your money spent was not in vain. And you have a beautiful young lady over here that the name she carries is, in fact, her rightful name.
That has changed my mind.
Has it?
That has changed my mind.
How do you feel right now?
Because for all these years, I truly believed in my heart of hearts that she was not mine.
What do you want to say to your daughter?
I'm sorry.
Thank you for that. That is what this court is about. None of us, including me here today, are perfect people, but I always say it is never too late for a brand new start. I want you to learn to love your daughter, Celeste Hayslip. That's your baby girl.
First, I'll get to know her.
Absolutely. But know this, when it came down to the come down, as people say, and you didn't know where she went, what was your instinct?
I went to find her.
You went to find your baby girl. Find her. Find out who she is. Miss Hayslip, this is your day. You have found your family. I'm so happy for you. Court is adjourned.